Hello everyone, this is Kelly from The Way Home, Bits and Pieces, and today I'm going to be making a meatloaf, so I'll go over it with you, and I'll be starting with my Hamburg, mixing up my Hamburg. Now to the Hamburg, I'm going to be adding some Worcestershire sauce, about a teaspoon of Worcestershire. This is approximately 2 pounds. Mixing it with the Worcestershire sauce. Then I'm going to add 2 eggs. I'll be mixing those up. Now I'm mixing up the Hamburg and the eggs and the Worcestershire sauce. Now normally I would be wearing gloves if I were cooking for someone. My hands are very clean. So I'm mixing that up. Now I'm going to add a little bit of milk, about a quarter of a cup of milk. I'm going to add my onions, and I have approximately 2 cups of onions, or a cup and a half, but you can use as you would desire. I'm going to mix that in. Garlic powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of pepper, a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now you don't have to use that if you don't want to, but it gives it a little touch. This is paprika, about a half a teaspoon of paprika. And my salt. Now there is a secret ingredient in this, and when I cook for a church, I got a standing ovation for my meatloaf. About 150 people stood up and clapped over my meatloaf, but my secret ingredient was a package of onion soup mix, and I'm going to add that, a whole package of it. I'm going to mix that in. Mix it in completely so everything gets mixed in together. And I had put my base seasoning in already. I had a teaspoon and a half of that. Now I'm going to add a cup of breadcrumbs. And I'm using the Italian breadcrumbs. And I'll mix that all in. Now I'm going to add about a cup and a half of ketchup, and that helps it to be extra moist. Like I say, you can use a spoon with this, but I find it easier just mixing it this way, especially since I'm sitting down and it just makes it easier because I have problems with my neck and my shoulders, as I've mentioned before, with the crippling spine problems, the upper spine. Now I'm just going to put maybe a quarter of a cup of beef bone broth in with it and stir that up. I have a little seasoning left here. Now I'm going to mix this up. This is going to be our delicious meatloaf, and I'll continue to explain what I'm doing. Now I'm going to put this into my 2 bread pans. And I've oiled the bread pans. Now this is going to make 2 nice sized meatloafs. Now what I'm going to do, I've mixed together a little bit of ketchup with brown sugar, and that's going to go over the top of the meatloaf. Over the meatloaves, now you don't have to do this, but this is what I learned, is to put bacon over the top, and I partially cook the bacon, and what it does, the oils seep down into the meatloaf, which makes it very nice and moist. Now, like I say, I used to cook this all the time, about approximately once every other month for the church that I was going to at the time, and for it. And I am very proud of my meatloaf, and a lot of the recipe comes from my mother, who's an avid cook, and I added a couple other little ingredients to it. And as I said, my secret ingredient is the onion soup mix. So we're going to put this in the oven, and when it's done, I will be back. I I'm going to bake this on a 350 degree oven, 375 to start for 15 minutes and then down to 350.